Hey folks, this is David Snell with ExecutiveRestoration.com, and what I'm going to be talking about here is living and traveling abroad. Now, a lot of people, and I'm just trying to be personal and being transparent with you guys here, and telling you some of the places that I've lived and traveled. I lived in South Korea. I've lived in Indonesia. I lived on the island of Guam. I've traveled extensively all through Europe, Canada, all over the United States. And one of the things that has been really important to me in my life is traveling, visiting and seeing other cultures, and being very open to other cultures, and living in Indonesia, for example. I lived in Jakarta, Indonesia, Bandung, Indonesia, Blitar, Indonesia, Malang, Indonesia. So really had a really interesting childhood in Indonesia, and a lot of interesting experiences, a lot of wonderful foods, a lot of wonderful fruits in Indonesia. I really miss Indonesia. So lived in Indonesia, lived in South Korea, lived on the island of Guam. And those were some really interesting experiences living in those places. And then, of course, living and traveling in all through Europe. I had a Eurail pass. So basically, trains, subways, buses. So I just showed them my pass, and I could go about anywhere. I had my own compartment most of the time, so I could eat on the train, sleep on the train, and it was a very eye-opening experience to live in Europe and travel throughout Europe. And one of the excuse me, one of the most interesting places that I lived in Europe was Sweden, in a place called Gävle, Sweden. Now, that's where the coffee Javolia is from, okay? So I'm just kind of touching the tip of the iceberg here about my travels, some of the places I've lived, and I will continue on with other places and how other places that I've traveled and lived have really opened my eyes up to life. Thank you, David Snell with ExecutiveRestoration.com.